more heavy rain is coming for the eastern North Island. Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan and thank you for joining us for our Tuesday update for June the 20th. And we're tracking a couple of main areas of low pressure at the moment. The first one moving into New Zealand from the Tasman Sea over the next couple of days, and the other one out here around Western Australia, which is heading towards Adelaide. We've also got this very powerful high out to the east of New Zealand, going right up to the subtropics, pulling down a northeasterly, and that's also driving in rain for eastern areas. So we've got rain moving in from the northwest, rain lingering in the east, and another system down here. There's also a really big high in between these lows out over New South Wales at the moment in parts of Victoria that are settling things down for now, but that next change is coming through for you and then later on into New Zealand. So there's a fair bit of rain on the way, and this is only the first half of it. I'm sorry to say, I mean, Gisborne, East Cape area, down to Hawke's Bay, you've had so much rain this year that this is not welcome. The ground's muddy and wet, but there's plenty more on the way. This northeastern corner here could be still seeing up to about 80, 90 millimetres. And this is the 3-day rainfall from tomorrow morning, from Wednesday morning, going through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But of course, there's more rain this weekend and for the start of next week as that other system in the Tasman Sea moves through. So this might only be part or even half of what you're still to get over the next week and a half. But we are still expecting the other half of the year to start to dry out more. So for now, we're still stuck in the mud, if you like, with the rainmakers. And some of it comes down into Marlborough, a little bit down into Canterbury, but the further south you go, the drier it is. Over in Australia, this is your 3-day rainfall map. This is from today, so it covers the next few days. You can see that cold front moving along and across that southeastern corner. Rainfall totals aren't that great, only 5 to 10 millimetres for most of you. So let's take a look and see what's happening here on Wednesday. In comes the next area of low pressure. So we'll call that rain area number 2 because rain area number 1 is still stuck just on that eastern coastline. Now, because it's running parallel to the coastline, being pushed down as a nor'easter, it rains around East Cape and Gisborne, Mahia Peninsula. Once you get into Hawke's Bay, should be a bit drier, but it's moving around a bit as it comes down that northeastern side. And then rain starts to arrive later in the day for Northland, and over in Australia, rain starts to arrive late morning, coming into Adelaide with that cold front approaching. So by Thursday, the cold front pretty much over Adelaide. It's a slow moving front, so the rain may arrive, then the cooler air comes in on Thursday, settled to some degree for the east under that thin area of high pressure. But of course, the main feature here in New Zealand is this low pressure zone. So windy nor'easters, they could be up to gale force, but we're not expecting them at this stage to be severe gale, but it does get close to it around some of the mountains and ranges like the Kaimai Ranges. So just take care of, and be aware of that. Rain continues along the eastern side and a little bit into Marlborough, but mostly dry for the rest of the South Island. By Friday, the low moves a little bit further over to the east, weakens just a little bit. That's why the wind doesn't seem to be such a major problem, but you've still got the wet weather and it's partially subtropical. So I'm very sorry to say it carries on for that northeastern corner of the North Island and also the northeastern side, if you like, of the South Island too. Driest weather remains down in Southland, and now you see that cold front pushing out and across New South Wales. It'll do that overnight Thursday and into Friday morning for you. So by Saturday, there's the next system, the next cold front coming in for Adelaide, but it does get messier out here in the Tasman. This is high pressure to the north, so that's encouraging a slight westerly flow. But for the New Zealand area for now, because of this big high out here, you're still getting this northeasterly flow, and it's still subtropical, and it's still raining for Hawke's Bay and Gisborne. So this is a bit of a problem for you to be having this lingering on for so long into next week as well, obviously. And our final map here for Sunday still shows it raining on the eastern side of the North Island. The green here highlighting some heavier falls, despite the low completely, well, not completely, but almost completely falling apart. And then, of course, we've got this other system down here. So it's messy kind of weather, which is normal in June. What is not so normal is the warmth that we're getting from this, the lack of proper southerlies coming up. And sometimes there is no real, main big driver for that. Sometimes it's just the luck of the draw on the way highs and lows sit and pan out. So there's a big high rolling in here, though, for the western side of Australia. Whether that reaches New Zealand later next week, we'll have to wait and see. Now, before I go, some upcoming highlights on our rural weather page, go to the fog cloud forecaster here for Waikato. Look at all the foggy days coming up. So as we go into next week, it looks as though fog and low cloud around Waikato could be a bit of an issue. And the other thing to note is frosts. Not very many frosts around the country at the moment. If you look at the free frost forecaster at ruralweather.co.nz, Gore was one of the main areas I could see with frost, and it's not looking overly frosty. You know, overnight lows around 1 or 2, but there is a risk of some frost coming up over the next couple of nights. Otherwise, it fades away into the weekend. It's just another degree of warmth in there and that northerly, slight bit of cloud. Still be a few frosts around, but just nothing too serious. That's all from me. See you again on Wednesday with our next update.